we are here and we will suppress every damn hand trying to suffocate the history of Ghana.
In 1966, he was a despot. He was not good for Ghana. He was terrible for Ghana. The 1960 constitution, which Nkrumah put together, which I have in front of me, has Nkrumah's name buried in the constitution, Article 10.
Correct.
Where it is talking about Kwame Nkrumah as president of Ghana. So it's talking about Kwame Nkrumah as president of Ghana in that Article 10. There is also a bit more. It is in this same 1960 constitution that Nkrumah decided that there was an amendment to the 1960 constitution in 1964. And if you look at the amendment, it will interest you to know that the amendments that was provided in the 1964 amendment included the fact that Kwame Nkrumah was now able to dismiss judges. Yes. And also, yes, he was able to dismiss judges. And also, the national flag of Ghana was changed. He also banned all political parties in 1964. And people were imprisoned. Preventive Detention Act was created in 1958. You might not think of it as a bad law. It is only the usage that you can criticize. Because what happened is that Nkrumah had been attacked by a bomb. And it was becoming very scary between Nkrumah and the opposition. The violence was growing on the part of the opposition, I must say. And Nkrumah needed something that will allow the intelligence agencies to work. So that's why PDA was set up. So in fact, if you look at the usage of PDA, between 1958, when it was set up, and about 1961, it was minimal. But from 1961 to 1964, the PDA was railroading everywhere and every home was afraid. This was the state of affairs in Ghana. Now, because we are not accustomed to our history that much, and all of us, many of us talking today, were not born in that time, we all don't know that, and we are railroaded into Nkrumah as something.
That's a situation where you could be arrested and put in custody without the intervention of a court.
Not just without the intervention of the courts, but on the basis that the Minister for Interior is thinking in his mind that you are preparing to do something wrong. This is a fundamental departure from the processes of the jurisprudence of the criminal court. It's just a fundamental and a wicked departure from it. That somebody can think in his head that he suspects that you are doing something wrong and then you are picked up and arrested. This was the state of affairs in Ghana at the time. Now, there was nowhere else to go because if you look at the amendment of the constitution, Nkrumah had made himself a life president.
Correct.
And he had also made CPP the only legitimate party. Now, this is the situation that led many African countries to civil wars in the 80s. Because these leaders in the 60s, a lot of these Nkrumah students who had won independence for their various countries through Nkrumah's efforts, had also become despots and were thinking like that. So Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia and all of those people, they were there till the 80s. Ofebwanye, they were there. And part of the reason why Ghana did not experience those civil wars in the late 80s and the 90s was Kotoka. That Kotoka came in and said, no, we can't do this. The only reasonable way to do was to remove him. How do we test Kotoka's fidelity to the nation and he and his friends? So they decided to do a coup. They took Nkrumah out. And they began to rearrange Ghana on the path of another constitutional democracy. And they left office and they left in the hands of the constitutionally elected group of people. I must say that being an apostle of the right-wing philosophy, one thing I've always worried, even as a student, is that why did they ban CPP from the 69 election? I thought that was blatantly wrong. And that is what led to the division in our country that we are still suffering. Busia and his people should really have allowed Nkrumah to run the election. If Nkrumah had come and he had lost the election, Busia had won. Nkrumah would have been minority leader in parliament in 68, 70, 71. And I guess the coup may not have come. Nkrumah may have won elections again in 74. And Nkrumah, if he left as he left and still was part of politics, would now have realized the kinds of things he was doing and why the coup itself was necessary. I'm sure that if you take Nkrumah's brain at 1954, he will support the coup. If in 1954 Nkrumah will support the 1966 coup. Oliver Vomaho, when Akufo-Addo was president, thought that the soldiers should overthrow him because the government was very bad. If Oliver Vomaho had lived in Nkrumah's time, I'm sure he would have been a suicide bomber because it was much worse. Now, this is the state of affairs, and Kotoka was the rescuer. So we grow up later on and see coups, and we say he's also another coup maker. No, but he was a rescuer. The South Africa airport is named after Oliver Reginald Tambo.
That's right.
He was a terrorist on the list of everyone in the world, UN and everybody. But
well, even Mandela was on terrorist
the airport
list.
was named after him. So what we are saying is that let's put the history in proper perspective. If after we all have acquainted ourselves with this history and then understood why Kotoka may be considered a hero, for which reason the airport will be named after him, not just a coup, but the kind of circumstance that occurred, then if after all that, the people still want to name
so that from your point of view, Kotoka will be a liberator. That for a period, for almost 10 years, nobody could breathe in this country. There was nothing like freedom of expression, freedom of association, because Nkrumah had become a terrible despot. Correct?
That's the point. Not just that. The 1960 Constitution, and in Ghana we have had 60 Constitution, we had 69, we had 79. I dare say that the 69 Constitution will work today. If you look at the provisions of it, it will work today. 79 will work today. They should tell us whether 1960 Constitution will work today. A constitution that says that the president can sack judges. A constitution that makes no provision for a presidential election. Zero provision for it. The election of the president occurs when the president resigns, when the president is not there, there's nothing like on this date we are going to have an election.
And it's actually named in the constitution.
Yes. Now see what happened. Nkrumah was popular. Yes, he was. In 1951, he won the election. 54, he won the election. 56, he won the election. You cannot win 3 successive elections in those days if you are not popular. But here is the charge. In 1960, Nkrumah knew that if he ran an election on universal adult suffrage, he might not win. So he decided to obscure the election and call it a plebiscite and do something funny. Fair enough. Ghanaians were waiting that, okay, another 4 years, because we are now turned into a constitutional regime. So every 4 years, we must have election. Another 4 years will come, we'll have election. 64, everyone was waiting for the election. What happened? The coup, the proper coup d'etat. Nkrumah overthrew the constitution as a president with the parliament. They said that we will not have any election anymore. CPP is the only party. All other political parties are banned. A president whose finance minister can run away from parliament. A president who sits in a parliament that 1/3 have run away. A parliament that was elected in 1956 and no election of the parliament until 1966 when the coup came. 10 years of MPs in the house, no election. This is the state of affairs in Ghana. And these our friends, Kwesi Pratt and Co, would like us to say that this is okay. We shouldn't say anything about it. How should we not talk about it? When we say bring up the history, let's discuss, then Nkrumah say, no, don't talk about it. No, don't talk about it. Why should we not talk about this? Now, this is what has helped Ghana. This is why Ghana is different from other countries. Kotoka is the reason. Kotoka, Afrifa, Ankara. They are the reason why Ghana is different from other countries. That's why we didn't have a despotic leader who had been in power 20 years, 10 years, 25, 30, 45. When Ghanaian young people hear that, they wonder, what is that? Somebody has been in power 45 years. Museveni, Uganda. Hey, no Ghanaian young person can relate to that. They can't relate to that because of Kotoka. If it's not for Kotoka, Nkrumah would have been president till we finish school.
But when Jerry took over, he almost did 20 years.
But that is why there was such excessive pressure on Jerry. If you read the 1988 report of compulsorily go and democratize, that's why there was such much pressure on him. And that's why Jerry succumbed to that pressure, because he was scared of the Nkrumah situation. So much as he was strong, he was being told that, Charlie, don't become an Nkrumah, the coup will come. So let's go and democratize. You are popular, you can win the election. And that's what happened.
We are here, and we will suppress every damn hand trying to suffocate the history of Ghana. Now, you see, sometimes I started to believe why certain people claim that they are learned and they shroud themselves with the statement, learned friend, learned colleague, and what have you, especially those who have gone through the law process na ɛwɔ Ghana hɔ no. Something ayinini or say a lawyer into regarding the home or for referring as my learned colleague, my learned friend. But Otiho and Paul Adom make blatant liars. Say Nkrumah was a despot, and you, Samson Ayinene, repeated. Say Nkrumah no a despot. Nkrumah no a authoritarian, no a dictator. Nkrumah foisted himself on the people of Ghana. And the big question is, did Nkrumah do it single-handedly, or those things are omokano? A Parliament of Ghana and the institutes and now say the people of the country at the time and these are some of the questions the intelligent ones then they carry you along the lines of stupidity. And in the end, we will continue to wallow in this vicious cycle of what we call obliviousness, or I don't know how to even put it. Otiho, wako school, wo from ho say wo ye hwan yetimi ma wo deben journalist of the year, hwan program host of the year. Obi te ho distorted the political history, the economic history, the every history be about Ghana. O te ho ontumi nka nche Paul Adom say asem no a wo ka se Kwame Nkrumah sesa Ghana flag the CPP flag and the pese eye Ghana flag no. Then the question is say they should first of all show to you the na Ghana flag and the na CPP flag. The second point is that Paul Adom should have told the entire country, say, Nkrumah did it and nothing went through parliament, nothing went through referendum and what have you. Munyina munim. Se adie bia Nkrumah ye bia no Ghana for Ghana mra ne man ho kwan man ye. And let's assume that Nkrumah became a despot, became a dictator. What necessitated that action? One say, de bia minuanom omo ye the rightest. Minuanom a omo say omo de omo call the right side of the politics no. Omo de bia omo pese omo super Kwame Nkrumah no. And na Kwame Nkrumah you say, na Kwame Nkrumah you say, na Kwame Nkrumah you say no. The big question I ye busa omo say, Kwame Nkrumah na oye nipa boni ni from 1960s eba no. Dear na omo nso de ye Kwame Nkrumah ma ne be dani nipa boni ni. They will not tell you that story. To the extent say ye two Kwame Nkrumah nyina no, ye kofa ne maame na owo almost 92 years. Ye kofa Kwame Nkrumah maame by say medi adanse mfantia ono ankasa ne ba Kwame Nkrumah say onye Ghana ni. Adentia. Kojo botu ene akwaje mo wo kojo botu Kwame Nkrumah ni wuhia o London abontin so. Akwaje mfa wo abontin so.